Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my second channel. Last week we did a thoughts video on Snapshot 20W 45A and I asked people, did you enjoy it? Did you like it? It was very well received, so thank you for letting me know. We're here doing it again. Yesterday we had 46A and I've had a little bit of time to think about some of the features. Of course we had a lot less in this one, but it was certainly an interesting snapshot, as most of them tend to be. And I want to start off with something that I actually missed in that video. There was a change to the spyglass, and it's kind of funny because I started off my video like right clicking with the spyglass in F5, just thinking I wonder if it works this way around and I can zoom in on myself like I do in my regular videos because I have the zoom mod. Well, it doesn't, and unfortunately I didn't think to press F5 and just check it out normally, and you can see they've changed the texture. I kind of feel like you should see the wooden border all the way around, but I guess it makes sense. You get more of the actual what you're looking at if you don't have the wooden border all the way around. It's pretty good. I like the glass effect. I like the blue border. I think it's a big improvement compared to the circle, but why not just make it wider overall? Have a bit of texture to show you're zooming in. I guess the thinking is that this item's lens is square, but it is just pixel art to begin with. So who's to say that this couldn't be nice and wide? I think if they made it nice and wide, it would really be a sweet spot for an alternative to the zoom mod. It's a shame you can't press Z to activate it, or activate it when you're not holding it in your hand, but I guess that makes sense in terms of how Minecraft works, right? I also wanted to talk about Amethyst. So now that it's like settled in a little bit, oh dear, I should have given myself some night vision. So here on this channel, I don't, well, sometimes I do, but most of the time when I record this sort of video, there's no editing. This is just, hey, I can throw a little bit of extra time onto this, but I don't have time to edit videos and stuff, right? So that's why I'm unprepared as compared to a video on my main channel. So this texture right here, I'm not as keen on it, okay? There's too much of this one shape repeating over and over again, but it got me thinking about something. We have, where is it? Programmer art. This right here is the classic look of Minecraft, as it says. This is when the programmers were making the art for the game. I wonder when we load this up if we're going to see the textures from last week. We don't. Interesting. Okay, because I thought maybe things like candles are actually originally drawn by the devs, and then Jasper comes in and dazzles us with this amazing thing right here. I actually love the original candle texture as well. So that was a thought that I had, that maybe it links into the programmer art, and that's the reason we've had two set of textures. But no, that doesn't appear to be so. And I also wonder, as they update the game, do you think that they should perhaps put in programmer art for some other blocks? That thing can then become like a big alternative texture pack that has more of the old style of Minecraft for all the new things that get added. I personally think that could be a pretty cool feature. I don't really think there's too much of a reason not to do that, but it's probably not their priority. One thing I wanted to talk about was bundles. I mentioned this in my video, so probably no surprise to some of you who watched it, but I really want to see that preview added to the shulker boxes. This was actually really well implemented. I think it looks pretty good when you got items in there, which we could, well, that wasn't very clever. I believe you can use the creative menu to pick things into there. No? Do you left click? I saw this on Twitter, I think, that you can actually use the creative inventory with the bundle. I can't seem to figure it out right now, but you know how it looks when it got items inside of it. That was a really cool addition. Next thing I want to talk about is the bucket. I've seen some cool Reddit posts, like someone was climbing up, standing on top of the block, getting the one from below, jumping up, placing it here. It's nice to see a new block implemented with unique functionality like this. We can place lava and water from buckets, but those are obviously liquids and they flow. And now we've got a solid block with some unique properties. And this is the way things should be done in this game. When you have an opportunity to introduce something new, let's try and make it unique and get something out of it. And I think one of the things that might be a little bit overlooked here is the frozen damage, right? If we put down a couple of these and go into survival, when you get those, oh, we're in adventure mode, we're going to survival, there you go. When you get those blue frosty hearts, they're pretty awesome, but I feel like they should come with something a little extra, because they are just pretty much straightforward damage, right? We're going to start getting some of those frosty hearts in just a second. And so what could this be used for? Like, I really feel like there could be something extra that comes out of this. Maybe the player changes color, or maybe it's not an aesthetic thing. You could be slowed down until you unfreeze. I just can't help but feel that type of damage could have a little bit more going for it. And there's a suggestion going around in the community that I thought was really great, was that a skeleton, if frozen, which it will do if it gets stuck here inside of this block, it will start to take freezing damage. In fact, it's making a sound. Oh, it's daytime, so this thing is burning, but then also being unset. Right, this block puts you out of fire. I noted that with the cauldron, right? I might have to set myself on fire in a minute. Let's finish this suggestion. So, when it's freezing, it could then be converted into a stray. I think that's a fantastic idea. Little details like that in this game are so cool, but it would then also be really nice if the stray had some additional properties to it that made this block useful. Now, a lot of people have pointed out you could use this inside of a mob farm, for example, but the damage rate is very slow, so it's not going to be a good alternative to other methods like the Wither Rose, for example. So if this had some unique properties like that, it could encourage us to make new types of farms, like with the skeleton, you know, in a spawner, you could move it into snow blocks, then you get the strays, you separate those, and perhaps you get some unique drop, or the stray has some ability that you want to capture it and use. Little quirks like that are always great inside of this game. Anyway, what did I say we would do? I'd set myself on fire. I wish there was like a simple command for that. Anyway, it'll be flint and steel and soul sand, soil. Either one of those. Then we'll go into survival mode. Now we're set on fire. And walking into it puts us out. That is brilliant. Like I said, in my snapshot video, I just tried it on the cauldron, but it works with the snow block as well. That is really, really cool. And I love that we kind of learnt that accidentally. That's usually a great way to learn stuff in this game. It's just by goofing around with blocks and seeing what they can do. Anyway, one criticism of this powdered snow is that the bucket itself isn't stackable. So if you want to use this texture on a large scale, then it's going to be quite tedious. Now, I personally think the texture probably isn't going to matter too much because it's so similar to this. I don't think that distinction is really going to matter too much when you're building. But maybe if you have a reason to use this block for its other properties on a mass scale, then maybe there's a complaint there. But for now, I think it's okay being its own thing. And if we were to talk about farming this stuff for a moment, you farm it in cauldrons. So then I started to think, well, you know, you might actually want a lot of these blocks. How would you go about farming it with a bucket? And initially, the idea was that you could have some complicated... Hello, Mr. Villager. Some complicated setup with pistons and maybe observers. So one thing I'd really like to check, actually, is if... I'm pretty sure this will work. It'll be a pain to do it right now. And if I use a command to change the level of the cauldron, it might not be the same as survival. But let's say that you can detect the amount that it's getting in, right? Then you count all the different levels, and then you move this thing with a piston onto some sort of conveyor belt system, and then, you know, you stockpile them when they're full up to then come and take them off again later on. That might be a bit overcomplicated. It would require a lot of redstone. Maybe something a lot simpler like the player just AFK and going past with buckets over and over again. Something like that could be a way to farm this block. And I like that. It's always cool to have a new type of farmable thing in this game that isn't quite like anything you've done before, for example. Once again, didn't I have a comparator in this hotbar? Another thing to bring up is the use of the comparator. When this thing is full, it will output 3 signal strength, and again, missed opportunity to try and do something a little different with these cauldrons to give redstone in creative mode or in survival more options, you know. Movable blocks that have a set signal is really cool. Currently that is just 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. And yeah, just looking at my list of things to talk about, there's only one more thing really, which was nether mobs and this right here. So let's go grab a, let's see, piglin and a zombified piglin. There we go. I was thinking it'd be really cool if the frozen damage... Oh, that's a pig. I picked out the wrong one. Don't freeze, little piggy. Don't freeze. Oh, here we go. See, I was thinking like nether mobs. Maybe it'd be really cool if they took like an extraordinary amount of damage from this snow block. Then it could be useful in nether farms. As you'll hear me say over and over again, I think good game design revolves around adding things and then giving them quirks which relate to other parts of the game. And there is so much in this game now compared to many years ago that I really think that there's no shortage of little links that you could create. For example, frozen snow in the nether, or maybe when this is in the nether it should melt. In fact, I never actually placed this in the nether, so here's how you go to the nether, or at least the way I do it, right? You execute inside of that dimension the TP command, and then you give yourself some coordinates. Sometimes you end up inside of blocks, but if you're in creative mode that's okay. Yeah, this doesn't melt in this dimension, it appears to stay here. Maybe it melts after a certain amount of time. But yeah, this could have some other properties when put in the nether, because to be fair, it would probably make more sense if this were to just slowly evaporate inside of this dimension. So I guess a last thing to mention is that I thought the bug fixes were really good in this snapshot. In the past, all the bug fixes seem to be kind of like really odd and quirky small things, and it feels like over time they keep addressing bigger and bigger issues. I don't know, there's so much polish going into this game now. It's really good to see all the issues getting addressed through those bug fixes. Anyway, I think we've reached the end of our discussion for this video. Once again, leave a comment, let me know if you enjoy this. We'll probably continue this format until there's not too much to talk about with these snapshots, as I like waffling on about this game, right? So thanks for watching the video. If you haven't seen the snapshot review, head over to the main channel, and that is it. Thank you. Bye bye.